Not so heavy as this, Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi may be Speaker of the House, but she's Speaker of the House as a consequence of how the House organized itself. She's elected from one congressional district, 435 members of Congress. She's elected from one of the most left-wing cities on the face of the earth, San Francisco. It's poorly run by their government. It is in a horrible state on many of the streets. It is a sanctuary city. So the Democrats have chosen yet again somebody who is extraordinarily extreme to be their leader in the House of Representatives. Now, for some of the kooks, she's not extreme enough, but that doesn't mean she's not extreme. And she is literally destroying certain long-held traditions in this country. Her decision today to revoke an invitation to the president to speak before a joint House and Senate Congress. It is the first time in American history an invitation of that sort has been withdrawn. She has lied about the basis. She said because of security. Well, it just so happens the president's in charge of security, and the Secret Service and the DHS said they'd have no problem with security. So then she said, well, as a result of the government shutdown. It has nothing to do with any of this. She does not want the President of the United States to be able to deliver the State of the Union address from the Capitol with all the pomp and circumstance. And I find it troubling that some of these conservatives and pseudo-conservatives say it's no big deal, he's destroying the President, another tradition. He's not destroying anything. Nancy Pelosi is. They are denying a duly elected president, who most of you voted for, the right that every president who's wanted to do so, to speak before a joint session of Congress to the American people. And the press has no problem with that whatsoever. And the Democrats have no problem with that whatsoever. Nancy Pelosi has hijacked the federal government. That's why part of it is closed. She has unilaterally decided that our borders will be open. And now she has undermined this tradition of a president speaking before both houses of Congress. She doesn't care what the Senate thinks and control the Republicans. She doesn't care what 63 million other people think. Nancy Pelosi is the closest thing we have in government to a fascist, to a radical authoritarian. They like to throw that label around when it comes to the President of the United States. The President of the United States has done nothing of that sort. Nancy Pelosi repeatedly conducts herself like a fascist. And now we have a problem. The Speaker of the House is an American fascist. That doesn't mean that she has to do all the things that fascists all over the world do or have done. But in our system of government, that's what she is. She rules by an iron fist, ignores our Constitution, ignores our traditions, is more than willing to shut down parts of the government, more than willing to allow people to come into this country illegally, regardless of who they are. She doesn't know who they are. She has no idea who they are. And has denied the President of the United States, duly elected in a nationwide vote, unlike her in a citywide vote, from speaking to the American people because she wants to deny him that platform. This creates a terrible, terrible precedent for this country. Even when Reagan and Tip O'Neill were at each other's throats, and Reagan did not like Tip O'Neill, and vice versa, it would never have crossed Tip O'Neill's mind to do this. Even in the worst days of Richard Nixon, it would never have crossed the mind of the Democrats in the House to do this. Never. She says the government's closed. We've had presidents speak to both houses of Congress when we're in the middle of wars, the middle of domestic riots. There's certain things that we do as a people. And Pelosi, one by one, is burning them down. She's a 78-year-old politician who's been in politics the vast majority of her life. She's never really worked a private sector job. She relies on her extremely wealthy, politically connected husband in San Francisco and California to subsidize her. That's the truth. She is a individual who is trying desperately to hold on to power. And in order to do so, she has to kowtow to her increasingly radical socialist/Marxist left. That's what she's doing. And she's dragging the rest of the country in that direction. For the President of the United States to do as she demands and to do as Schumer demands, he must agree to sign a spending bill that massively increases spending in what's left of the 25% of the government that's supposedly closed, and hope that they'll come to the table and talk about a wall. She's already said, no wall, not now, not ever. This is a position she never held before. It's a position Schumer never held before. They held a contrary position. Fascistic. Power is the ends, power is the means. Fascistic. That's what she is. And you know, as a student of history, mostly self-taught, you watch these committee chairmen, Adam Schiff, Gerald Nadler, among others. You listen to what they say and how they talk. They want to know how Jared Kushner got a security clearance, and they're going to investigate it. And they're going to investigate their taxes. And they're going to investigate their banks. And they're going to investigate their business dealings. For all their talk against Vladimir Putin, they are collectively Vladimir Putin. This is exactly what he does to his political opponents who dare to question his power. He goes after their finances. He goes after their families, and they all wind up either dead or in Siberia. These Democrat chairmen, well, we're not talking about death or Siberia. They're using the techniques of a fascist. The fascism that Nancy Pelosi is displaying is the fascism that we are now seeing within the Democrat Party. It is a fascism that not only accepts, but embraces anti-Semitism, because that's what fascists do. It is a fascism that embraces Farrakhan. It is a fascism that embraces Hamas and Hezbollah. It is a fascism that embraces Antifa and Black Lives Matter. It's a fascism that embraces William Ayers and Bernardine Dorn and Khalidi, and you name them. It's a fascism that tries to destroy an honorable man, Brett Kavanaugh. It's a fascism that tries to destroy the children of a president of the United States. It's a fascism that wants to take 70% of your wealth. It's a fascism that destroys the Constitution while waving it around. Nancy Pelosi is America's first fascist. And that's a fact. Now, they call the President of the United States Hitler, Stalin. He's neither. That's outrageous. I would never call Nancy Pelosi Hitler, Stalin, or Eva Braun. But her tactics are the tactics of a fascist. And she's stomping all over our Constitution. And I'll call her out on it, even though the others will hide back in the shadows until I clear the coast. That's okay. The State of the Union, ladies and gentlemen, when you read the Constitution, He shall from time to time give to the Congress information of the State of the Union and recommend to their consideration such measures as he shall judge necessary and expedient. And he may, on extraordinary occasions, convene both houses or either of them, and in case of disagreement between them with respect to the time and the place and so forth, that he shall think proper. President of the United States still in control of giving the State of the Union. But we have a fascist Speaker of the House who seems to believe that only the hardcore, radical, extreme leftists can run the House of Representatives. You see, ladies and gentlemen, the Capitol building belongs to you. The Republicans control the Senate. The Republicans control the presidency. But one member of the House who clawed her way to the top and is holding on to power with her fingernails, doing anything she can do or has to do. She's using the tactics of the 1960s. She's using Alinsky tactics. And that's the nature of the Speaker of the House, a fascist. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.